Today I'm going to be talking about the hot topic on everyone's lips right now, Fable. Fable has been brought back and we have access to it on our normal subscriptions in Claude for the next couple of days until the 7th of July. That does not give us much time in which to ask our most important, our most pertinent questions. What tasks can we give Fable that will change our lives for the better forever? This is an anxiety I'm seeing inside of my private community, also on the live call that I gave yesterday with people asking, hey, we have this superpower. What the hell should I ask it? What the hell should I do with it? Big question. Big question. This is actually something that has historically hadn't. So people used to travel back in ancient Greece to the Oracle of Delphi. This was a location that you'd head to and you would ask questions about the future of your kingdom or big important topics that the Delphi that would then give you an oracular prediction based on. Also, this has led through into science fiction with things like the deep thought computer in The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, a computer basically the size of a planet which had to answer one question. The answer famously was 42, but by the time it had calculated the answer, forgotten the initial questions. This has been something that has troubled humanity for a long time. If we are able to ask God, if we are able to ask a super intelligent, something that is smarter than us, a question, what should we ask? And we're getting a bit of a sneak preview with Fable this week. Now, this is going to be the new normal. I think this is probably the more exciting part here. Remember though, this, a year from now, will be the normal level of every single AI model. 2 or 3 years from now, we'll probably have Fable level models sitting on our telephones. We will have access to this level of intelligence basically all of the time. That's the big picture here. And don't forget about that. But for now, for the next 5 days or so, we have a little sneak preview of that future. We need to use it correctly so that we get the most bang for our buck. Now, there's a couple of ways I've seen people react to this so far. One is that people are freezing. They are not putting anything into Fable because they are worried about using up their tokens. I would say, don't worry about that. For the next 5 days at least, the Fable usage is coming out of your normal Claude subscription. So if you're on a $20 a month or a $200 a month subscription, you get to use Fable. After the 7th of July, that is not the case. It will be removed from the subscription entirely and you're going to have to pay for usage. So use it now over the next couple of days. And every day that ticks past without you using it, you are wasting your opportunity to use it at this subsidized lower cost. Afterwards, it's going to be incredibly expensive. The other thing that I've seen is people basically panicking and throwing random tasks at it. So using it like they would use GPT 5.5, like they would use Opus 4.8, just as a very good model, and throwing normal everyday tasks at it. That is also a bit of a waste. And the problem with that is that people then tend to believe that it's not that special. They will get a good answer, but it's nothing particularly unique. But that's because the caliber of the question, the caliber of the problem that you've thrown at it has been relatively mundane. It's a big model for big problems. What I like to think about when I am composing a task or composing a problem or a question for Fable is I just assume it's around 20% better than what we're working with at the moment. I don't care about that. I'm just assuming that I am talking to something that is much smarter than all of the other models out there and that I need to ration my usage so that I can best use it. So I'm not going to be using it for mundane things, but I'm making sure to use it all of this week whilst it is on the subscription. But right now, make sure you're using it. So you need to sit down and think about big, hairy, gnarly questions, big questions that the other models cannot deal with, big tasks, things that are a bit messy that you need to pull apart. These are the kind of things that you need to throw at Fable, not the mundane. That's a total waste. That is like using a freight train to pick up your shopping. It is pointless. You need to use the tool for the jobs that it's good at, and Fable is very good at large, complicated jobs. So if you are currently facing something like a judgment call or a trade-off inside your business or your personal life, take that to Fable. If you have a big, messy project, maybe in a GitHub or your second brain, throw that into Fable and say, hey, what am I missing? How could I do this better? What am I blind? This is the kind of usage that's going to get you a lot more bang for your buck. But it requires us to come up with intelligent questions. How do we do that? It's a skill. But what we can do, what I'm recommending is Use a less intelligent model to help you come up with the questions, and then take those questions to the more intelligent model, Fable. So use something like Opus 4.8, still a fantastic model, a really good tool, or use GPT 5.5, currently the best chat GPT out there. Again, very, very good. Put it in its highest thinking mode and talk to it. Say, hey, look, I have the opportunity to talk to an expert. I have this opportunity. I need to make sure these questions count. What should I ask? And then you're going to have the lower intelligence, artificial intelligence, interview you on what would be good questions. So this works especially well if you're using ChatGPT or Claude. If you hook it up to a second brain, that is something that I talked about earlier on in the week, and I built some guides about, basically pulling all your life into one place and then giving it to the AI calendar. It knows your business, it knows your income, it knows everything about you, so it can therefore make better judgment calls. If you can give everything like this into a less intelligent model and say, hey, based on all of this, what question could I ask this superhuman intelligence? I should be careful with my terminology here, but I'm going to let it stand, in order to best make use of the limited number of questions I have. What that is going to do is these lower level intelligence models will be able to help pull from you. They'll be able to extract clever questions, clever tasks, clever projects that you should take up to Fable. And you do need to be careful here, because realistically, on the $20 a month plan, you probably have one prompt, maybe two. On the $200 a month plan, that's what I'm using at the moment, I'm hitting limits within 5 to 10 prompts. So it's still relatively limited. So you need to be parsimonious. You need to be careful with this. Because of this, you also need to prompt it in a slightly different way. Assume, especially if you're on $20 a month, assume that you get one prompt and that's it. That's your lot. That means that you're not necessarily going to be able to ask follow-up questions. You're not necessarily going to be able to go back and forward with multiple turns with this artificial intelligence. That means you need to get it right first time, which means the prompt, the question, the task that you give it needs to be very well specced. So you're going to give it your context, you're going to give it the question, and then you're going to give it an additional factor, which is a safety net, which is basically preempting all of the things that it might ask you or want to know about you, or things that might be blockages. You're going to try and preempt them in that initial prompt, but we're going to try and preempt as much as possible so that Fable does not need to go back and forward with us. Really important, because we might not, inside of our current usage, get the multiple turns. So we have to be careful. It's a lot of pressure, but it is well worth it. What I've been using it for, and it's been quite difficult, but I've been using it to challenge myself. I love when an AI can push back on me and call out my bullshit. And that's how I've been specifically using Fable for the last few days. Things like, what decisions have I been avoiding? Again, it has my AI brain, my second brain. It knows what I'm doing on a daily basis. It has logs of the work. So it's able to say, hey, there's one thing that's really important. You said that you were going to reach out to this so-and-so person. There's a multi-million-pound offer here, blah, blah, blah. And it will call me out on my bullshit. Super powerful. Most AIs would, one, miss that, and two, not realize that this is a priority and it needs to be pulled out. And they also will not call me out. Fable does, which is fantastic. Again, if you're giving it access to everything you're doing, you can ask things like, where am I working hard on the wrong thing? Where am I wasting my time and energy? What would embarrass me if someone brilliant looked at my business for an hour? These are very big, insightful, nasty questions, ones that you might not want to hear the answer to, but they are great things to throw at Fable, because it's going to be blunt, it's going to be brief with you, it's going to give you what you need to hear. This is the kind of thing that I highly recommend using. Either if you have a business, fantastic, but you can also do this for your personal life. You can say, hey, look, how do I sort myself out? What am I doing wrong? What could I be doing better? What is holding me back? What are my psychological blocks that are stopping me reaching my full potential? Big, scary questions you can give to Fable, and it's going to be able to work through them much more efficiently than any previous model. So that's what I personally recommend. We are increasingly having tools, large language models, AI tools that can deal with any task we throw at them, whether it's answering a question or enacting and implementing a particular idea. So that means it's pushing back onto us, the humans, the impetus to come up with good questions, to come up with worthwhile projects. When we can answer anything, when we can do and implement anything, It becomes about our imagination, and it becomes about our discernment, our sense of taste in knowing what we should be using these tools for. When a tool can be used for everything, it's not used for anything at all. So we need to give it that focus ourselves. Increasingly, the impetus comes back on us, which is why I think the idea of AI is making us more stupid, that can cut both ways. If you have access to this superpower, but you maintain a sharp edge and you maintain the ability to ask questions, to give it insightful projects, to improve your life by using this intelligence, then you can do some amazing things. But that impetus is on you. The AI can do anything, don't worry about that, but you need to instruct it in ways that are going to be beneficial for your life, your work, and your business, which is an exciting but also quite intimidating future for artificial intelligence. So this is time sensitive. You have until the 7th of July to use up your questions before it goes on to paper usage. And it's going to be, from the early reports, it's going to be incredibly expensive to use these models. Now, of course, that will drop over time. This level of intelligence will become the norm over time. But for now, you've got a few days to throw big questions at it, big projects that could potentially improve your life over the next 6 months, 12 months and beyond. So use it. Take that advantage and use this before the 7th of July. If you do not have a Claude or an Anthropic subscription, I would highly recommend getting one. I don't normally push people to spend money on stuff, but if you get yourself a $20 a month subscription, that's going to allow you at least to ask a number of questions over the next few days, which potentially, if you follow this kind of framework, could have a large impact on your life. I can't think of a better investment of $20 right now. This is not sponsored. I've criticized Anthropic over a lot of things. If you watch any of my short videos, so you know that I'm not being sponsored or told to say this, but I think this right now is an incredibly important test for you. Just to spend the weekend being introspective, working out what you should be asking, and asking this extremely advanced artificial intelligence to help you work through those problems. So your homework is to work out what these problems are. If you have access to an AI that is 20, 30, potentially more percentage better than what we have right now, if you have access to a world-class expert, what would you ask them? You have one question a day. What do you ask? Work that out. And then you're going to use dumber models to help you construct those questions. And for these particular questions, you're going to, yes, give the context, yes, give the question or the task that you want to give it to, but then also building a safety net, assuming you are not going to get clarifying questions, assuming it's not going to be multiple turns. So quite important to do that. And then use it, I highly recommend, on introspective tasks that can improve your life. Don't waste this on writing emails. Don't waste this on mundane tasks. Instead, use this next couple of days, this weekend, to improve your life, because I believe with the right questions, with this model, that is entirely doable. So all of this is going to be in the newsletter, aiwithkyle.com. There is also this guide about building an AI brain, which I've mentioned a few times. That is all available on the website as well, aiwithkyle.com, free to sign up for the newsletter. I will also be doing a number of short form videos on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube over the next few days about this process of what the hell should you ask Fable. And in fact, if you have asked Fable something or had it do something and it's been really impressive, tell me. Share, if you're in my private WhatsApp group, share in the WhatsApp group, because I'd love to know, and it's great for everyone else to be able to share that, or comment on one of my short form videos, and then we can help each other learn how best to use this superpower. Hopefully that's been useful. Make sure you are subscribed on YouTube and the newsletter aiwithkyle.com. And thanks, guys.